So the day I realized that my job wasn't my identity was actually a couple months ago. Follow me with this story, okay? So I work in the oil and gas industry, and with that comes a lot of driving, a lot of hard work, and a lot of true grit. This is a tough industry to work in. I work out in the field. It's a chore sometimes to get up and go to work. And I'm going to rewind us back about 4 to 5 years ago. Now, I worked for an oil and gas company in Colorado, and I was kind of the guy. I was the guy that people went to when they needed stuff done. I was the guy that if someone had a question, they could ask me, and there it is, right? That's what it was. So right around right around the 2020 area. You guys all know what time that was. A lot of people got laid off. We were also going through a transition. Another company was buying out our oil field company, and we were just shorthanded. It was tough, right? It was just a tough time to be working and doing the thing. Now, I had moved my family from New Mexico to Colorado. We didn't have a whole lot of family there. We didn't have a whole lot of friends there. It was just me, my wife, and my two boys. We had a newborn at that time too, and that was really tough. So I felt down in my hardest of deepest of hearts that I needed to work super duper hard to provide for my family. Okay, like a lot of men do. That's just kind of what we are as humans and guys. We work hard for our family, right? Ultimately, that's what it's all about. So the company let go of a bunch of people, and I then took the responsibility of three to four different other guys. And I wasn't complaining too hard, but the thing is, a typical day in my life was a 10 to 12 hour day of decently hard labor working on big oil and gas compressors, right? These things were loud, they were super noisy, they smell, there's a lot of moving parts that were dangerous to be around in some situations. And I was responsible for keeping these things going because if they didn't, then they were losing money. If these things went down and stopped working, they would lose this company tens of thousands of dollars. And when you're the guy that needs to answer to the upper management on why something didn't get done and the amount of money that you've lost the company, that sucks. Those meetings really suck. If you've gone through any of those meetings, and you definitely know what I'm talking about, they're tough meetings for sure. So, anyways, I had been through one of those meetings and I didn't want to go through another one. So I said, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make a hand, right? To be a good employee, to do everything I can to um, make this company succeed. And in turn, it'll help me, I'm sure. So, fast forward a little bit, when these compressors would go down, you would get a call out in the middle of the night. And if you didn't wake up, someone would sit there and call you until you went and responded to the situation, got the unit back up and running, making money again, or selling gas or whatever, or oil or whatever that is. And then you can go home, right? So a typical day was that 10 to 12 hour day. And then I would get home, I would eat food. 9 times out of 10, I would get a call out literally 6, 7 o'clock at night. And I would go and I would go back to work, thinking I only live like 30, 45 minutes away from the area. But I would go back for 3 to 4 more hours, right? And by that time, it's close to midnight. Drive home, have to wake up again that next morning by 3 to 4 o'clock to start my day. And it was like this for years. I gave the company everything I had, and I was a lot younger at that point in time, but I was living off of caffeine and breakfast burritos from Circle K. Like it was a time to be alive, boy. Let me tell you. Anyways, um, I remember specifically when that dynamic changed, right? So I'd done this for years. We're like 2022 ish area, and I'm super hard, right? Tons of hours. I was in a meeting. I remember specifically it was winter, snow's falling, compressors are running. I couldn't get this unit to stay running, so I called for help. It's like 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning. I knew I had to be at work in a couple more hours, so I was just going to sleep there at the station. And I had done that a lot. Like that was kind of my life at that point in time. I'd see my family every now and again, and I would end up by sleeping at the station because I cared so much about what that company thought of me. And I didn't want to answer the hard questions of why something happened or why this didn't get done. That I was just constantly out there, just being the best employee that I could. So this was on a Sunday. Monday rolls around. That next couple hours later, I had a meeting with all upper management, and we did this every Monday. And I'm explaining to them why the gas isn't flowing like it should, pressures are spiked, um, we're not going to hit our quota for the week type of thing. And someone jumps on, I don't even, some engineer from Houston, and he says, "Hold on, who are you again?" And he's telling me this. I'm on a Zoom call, and he says, "Who are you again?" And from think about this. I've been with the company for a couple of years now. I've given them everything I can. I've been on these meetings forever, and the guy doesn't know who I am, right? So then my supervisor gets on and says, "Hey, this is Daniel. He runs Area 3, and he's responsible for this, this, and this." And it hit me like a sack of potatoes. I'm Daniel, and I run area whatever that is. I'm just a guy, right? I was just a guy to these people. I'm not. I'm a number. I gave them everything I had for years, and I'm just a guy that runs a certain area. That's all I am. And I thought, okay. I took a step back. I thought about my family. They hadn't seen me. I'm giving this company that I'm only a number to everything I got, and it's never good enough. It's never going to be enough. But I could give my family the same amount of time and energy, and it would be perfect. I'd be investing in the future when I do something like that. My kids would love me for it. My wife still to this day will send me videos of what Google sends her for like flashbacks or whatever, and I don't remember a lot of these situations when the kids are running around or they're at the park, or like I don't remember the outfits that they're wearing. Um, and it's because I was working. I was doing something now that I look back at for what? For like 30,000 extra dollars a year. That's like the difference I made in overtime. It's a lot of overtime. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. At the end of the day, I learned really not a whole lot. Um, but if I would have taken that time to dig in on my wife, to dig in on my kids, anything, my faith, my whatever, that amount of time, I would have gained way more than what I gave for a company. So long story short, guys, think about your life. If you're in the position that I was in, really think about it. Maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time that you take a step back from a position and actually work on your family, right? Because at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about? Like your family, you're doing all this stuff for your family, anyways, unless you're a single man or woman out there just living life, doing whatever you can do to get ahead. Like I get that, but if you got a family with little ones at home, I remember more about my job than I do about my kids. That that kind of sucks. That doesn't kind of suck actually. That sucks. Don't be that guy. If you're if you're in that spot, you're not alone. I've been there. I know other guys out there have been there. Maybe they're still there. I ended up like leaving that place. I moved to another state where I work 1 day less a week. There you go. I made a huge move. I moved my family for a different possibility, uh, a different shot at life. And it's all we can do, guys. We just try our best every day to make the situation better. Like, that's what we got to do as men. So don't be a number. Don't give these companies everything you can, because there's someone that is right up the street that's younger, better looking, smarter, the whole thing, that will step in when you think you're not replaceable. You could be gone, and there's that other kid that'll step in that's hungry. He'll do his job, your job, someone else's job, and he'll love it, right? Meanwhile, you're like, oh, how'd that happen? Well, guess what? They're all like that. Most of them, anyways. Unless you're self employed, right? Then you can actually make your own thing, but most of us don't have that luxury. So there it is, guys. That's that's my story on the day that I realized what that was. And I just challenge you guys, if you're in that spot, if you're in that in between, you can't figure it out, you're just working really hard, not getting the the respect that you feel like you need, you know, think long and hard about it. You were looking for a job when you found that one, guaranteed. Um, but if that helped out anybody, which I hope it did, leave a comment down below. If you got any questions, I'll do the best I can for answering any of that stuff. If you like this video, if you felt like it helped you, I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to the channel. All that stuff helps out tremendously. You have no idea. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you, and until the next time.